Hey, D&D Fam. I'm Quick.
And I'm Lee, and you're listening to
Divas and Ducats. So what is a diva? I think divas get a bad rep. But to me, diva is all about the attitude.
As for ducats, it's your finances, your assets, Skrilla, guap, your coin. We're talking all things with the potential to affect your pockets.
And while we're attorneys by trade, we are divas by choice. Divas and Ducats is for edutainment purposes.
Y'all, we are not Series 511 or 703 professionals. This does not create a financial advisor or attorney-client relationship. The views expressed here are solely our opinions and the opinions of our guests.
It's just our opinion, y'all. Okay, divas, let's talk Ducats.
Hey, D&D Fam. Happy New Year. Boom, 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 boom. All of the things. So, welcome to 2022. We hope you are healthy, happy. We hope you are quarantining because Omicron is tripping. Whew. So
we can't get rid of it, y'all.
We can't. We're just going down the Greek alphabet. I am afraid of what Omega is going to look like. But we are here because at the top of the year, people always make resolutions. Now, I'm a proponent of you can make a goal and start on something anytime. But I think the top of the year, for whatever reason, people feel more accountable. They want to shift. They want to start anew. So one of the things that people tend to make goals about, right, is money. And they want to make more money, or they want to save more. They want to get out of debt. It always relates somehow to finances.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about teach me how to budget.
Teach me how to budget. Teach me how to budget. Teach me eight.
All my ducats love me. All my ducats love me. Okay.
Sorry. Divas and Ducats. We got it.
So, we couldn't play them. We don't own the rights to that song. So we just want to kind of go through some things similar to when we did that $100,000 episode when we talk about how far money stretches, right? And so holiday spending, a lot of times people go through all this rigmarole to, they want to see people open the gifts and their faces and that. And sometimes people go into a little bit of debt buying holiday gifts.
Right.
And so the average, I know you looked up the other day, the average household spends about $1,000 on holiday spending. I personally know some people who spend more.
Way more.
But this is just the average. So you know who you are if you, spent a mortgage or two in holiday gifts. Now you're kind of looking at those statements like, And so I'm going to let you go through because you like to do the little stats. What are some of the things that we should know kind of going into this budget episode and teaching you how to do the thing?
So the first thing that I say when you are first figuring out your budget is what are your goals? Most people do not know what their debt is. So they're budgeting toward a goal, but they don't know how much they need to save, how much they need to pay off. If they might have credit cards they've forgotten. Subscriptions are a huge thing, especially with all these people getting Pelotons and these monthly subscriptions.
It's a subscription thing?
Yes, to get those people to talk to you. Yes,
I mean, they look cool. Right. I mean, no, they really do look cool. I just, the way my body's set up, the bike is uncomfortable. But go ahead.
Yeah, so they have a tread.
A what?
A Peloton tread.
Oh.
Fancy.
I ain't got time.
So anyway, so there's subscriptions to that. All these Apple lovers out here with your watches and things, they have subscriptions to that. It's just a huge, people just tend to largely forget how much money they're paying in subscriptions. It's ridiculous. So just calculating, being able to figure out what your debt is.
Right.
And just getting into that, you can go to the annualcreditreport.com is one of the greatest places to start calculating your debt because they know your debt. Maybe not necessarily the subscriptions, but your debt. And you can go to that. You could pull from all 3 credit bureaus on your annual credit report. And my suggestion to do that is to do it beginning of the year, mid-year, and end year, right?
Okay.
So pull from one at the beginning, the second one in the middle, and then so don't do all three.
Yeah.
You can to compare them, but they're not going to be too far off from each other.
Right.
So the biggest way to see your change is to kind of pull it beginning, mid, and end year. So it would just be to starting point, figure out what your debt is.
Right. Yeah. And so what are some of the averages in terms of debt and bills that people are seeing?
So the average debt, and this does include, I think the average debt based upon bank rate was $92,000. So whether that include a house or not, I'm not sure. The average mortgage on a home was $208,000. That's probably largely before this inflation of homes, right?
Because right now you cannot find
not a decent one,
not in a major city. I would say you can't really find anything for $200.
Yeah, and then of course that's definitely not including your New Yorks, your Californias, those cities, because you couldn't find that before inflation in a home like that.
That was laughable,
right? So the mortgage $208,000, credit cards. Which I kind of was surprised by, was only $5,315. Personal loans were $16,450, and student loans were roughly around $38,000.
Okay.
So that was just like the average debt of the American. And so, those personal loans obviously would be car loans or anything like that. So, with $92,000 already kind of looming over, you go back to that holiday spending of probably more than likely putting more debt onto a credit card, which is largely a reason that, honestly, even though the holidays are what they're supposed to be, it's another reason why it's largely one of the seasons for the most anxiety and depression, right? They spike very much so after the holidays, just because of debt, how much is spent, the expectation that you have to spend. And, that's a whole nother episode. But there is this looming large expectation that you have to spend so much money on
stuff.
On stuff. on stuff. Yeah. And if you honestly, it's just, if you go through a lot of that, I think as parents and aunties and uncles and friends, we feel like people need the big stuff, right? That they're not going to be happy with, friends giving each other gifts, that I'm not going to be happy with the little candle in a card.
Yeah.
That the kid has to have, multiple PlayStations, multiple Air Max at 300.
PlayStation 7. Like they don't have the one that just,
And that's the whole thing. And it is actually, my 9-year-old asked for a PS5. And, it was funny. He pulled up a TikTok of this boy said, "Mom, can I have a PS5? And the mom said, "What's wrong with your PS4? Don't they play the same?" He was like, "Mom, this is you." I said, "And it is."
Because don't they?
That is me.
Good question.
So, after the holiday spending, you have to take into account, even budgeting, talking about holiday spending, right? People just swipe. They swipe they don't keep the receipts. They're not tallying up. Some people don't even know how much they spend. If you ask them, how much did you spend on your holiday spending? They would have no idea.
And I'm going to tell you, I don't know what it was, but this year I was gift card auntie. So I went, and some people feel that thing of like, oh, it's not personal, or they want, people should have something to open.
That hoard gift cards.
And I'm like, it is personal because I picked a store that you got the gift card to. So I knew you well enough to know so-and-so is going to get a Victoria's Secret gift card. So-and-so is going to get a Nike gift card. But I literally pulled up at Walgreens and went down the rack and said, "This is what I'm doing this year." So I think something like that, it is easier to know. I spent $300, whatever.
But even with those, they have the receipts, right, that they give you. So when you're budgeting, you definitely want to keep your receipts and tally things up, right? Count up the cost is something that I just often say. Count up the cost of what you're spending in order to be able to do your debt. So first, after you get your debt, you want to get, if you're budgeting, you definitely want to get your monthly household expenses. Okay. Whatever those may be. Some, people live in apartments and they don't have the same, expenses that you do if you live in a house. And I think we kind of did a little sample budget of someone that might. Yeah,
we did. Before we get into what is the most common mistake people make in budgeting?
So not budgeting I think one of the most common mistakes for budgeting is not budgeting based upon how you get paid, right?
Okay.
So you budget, largely most people think about budgeting on a monthly basis, but it's very few jobs. I know government jobs, there may be some military jobs. It's not teachers, I think.
Yeah.
But there's not too many jobs that get paid on a monthly basis, but you budget on a monthly basis.
Gotcha.
So, that can lend one or two things when you're doing that versus by your paycheck cycle, especially in those that do, I think, bi-weekly cycles. In some months, you get 3 paychecks, right? And if you're budgeting based upon a monthly basis, some people blow that entire last check thinking,
it's free money.
It's free money. And it's not, because that next month is going to have that 2-week cycle. But that's extra money that you could be putting towards debt if you're budgeting and all of these things. So I think that is one of the most common things. And then also just not directing your money. Like getting a check and being like, I think I have this coming up. I think, not telling your money where to go. Yeah.
I like that. Tell your money where to go.
Tell your money where to go. Because if you don't, it just disappears and you're like, oh, I thought I had this. And whether you budget based upon a cash envelope cycle, which I personally don't, because I just like things to be tallied up so much. And to me, it's easier to do that on a debit card or a credit card because it's all right there, transactional based.
Yeah.
But if you do it on a cash envelope cycle, which is where you take an envelope and you donate, hey, these are for bills, and you put a certain amount each month for bills. This is for eating out or whatever. You donate, you write the designation on that cash envelope and put money into it. And when it's empty, it's empty.
Okay.
So... and again, that also is can be based upon your pay cycle. So whether that's biweekly or whether it's monthly, that's how much you use based upon the cash envelope cycle. But the way you budget, regardless of whether you're using a cash envelope cycle or whether you're using, debit cards or credit cards, even because credit cards have this notion of being evil, but I don't think they are. They can be definitely used greatly towards your benefit once you know how to budget money.
Yeah.
Now,
I think if you have a strategy.
Yeah, if you have a strategy and you know how to, but credit cards can be very, very beneficial.
Yeah.
But if you don't, yes, they're going to get you in a world of trouble because it's not making you bleed out your pocket, right? You're swiping something else, and as you know, I had to explain to my son, like, it's not cash,
right?
But it's a loan. In essence, it's a loan. And these whole pay now,
buy now, pay later.
Buy now, pay later, kind of the same principles, right? The credit card lets you get you what you want, but you're going to pay me back. And you're going to pay me back with a lot of interest, which also is, in budgeting, I think some people have no idea what their interest cycles are.
Got you.
Or what their interest rates are on their credit cards.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as Quick said, if you don't manage your money, it'll manage you, right?
It will.
So, okay,
let's stress you out.
So let's get into our example. We have, we loved when JB was on when he talked about the 401k and whatnot late last year, in November, I think.
Yeah.
And so he had the example of the young lady named Miss Diva Duckett.
Right.
So we continued that. And so we are bringing Miss Diva Duckett to the table and we are going through her budget. Okay. So, all right. She makes $4,000 a month. She nets $4,000 a month. Okay. That's what this is based on. So this is based on someone who would net $50,000. So you're taking home about $50,000.
Okay.
But you can do this regardless of what you earn. I mean, it's literally... This is you starting at something and zeroing down. And I think some people I don't know if it's called zero sum, but some people like to literally account for every dollar. So again,
I do that.
Right. So we got down to a certain point and we'll go from there. So this is someone who would bring home $50K. And so we did this also based on averages. So just to let you know, obviously use your numbers, but these are just based on averages that we researched to give you an example of how this looks. And it's personal choice, right? So some people, I literally like Quick has a notebook. Quick likes to actually write the numbers down and old school. I have a friend who has a spreadsheet. She loves that spreadsheet. She got tabs and stuff. Who knows? So you can do it on anything. There's even certain apps, but I would really be careful with the apps just because some of them have a cost. And if we're budgeting and trying to save money, that becomes an expense because it's a subscription. So just be careful with that. If you're going to use an app, make sure it's free. Save you some money. So okay. So let's start with her spot because Diva Ducket has to sleep somewhere. So
yes, where she lays her head. So we did a 2-bedroom apartment at $1,500. Again, based upon where you live, that could be laughable or you could be clutching your pearls. But we did a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,500.
Okay, all right. So we're about $2,500. Okay.
And so then her utilities in the apartments, utilities could vary, but we had her paying solely for cable and heating and air for her utilities. So we assumed that her water was included, trash pickup, those kind of things. But we had her paying $200 for cable and heat.
Okay. All right, $200. So we're at $2,300. Okay.
And so we're assuming Miss Diva Ducket is single. And no children, because her grocery budget is only $250. And we, previously talked about how boys eat, so we know
she don't have no little boys.
there's no boys in this house.
No.
So you have her groceries at $250. So what does that bring us to?
So we're at $2,050.
Okay. And so dining out and entertainment, which I separated from groceries. And so I did a $250 budget here. Now, depending on how you're budgeting and how stringent you want to be with your budget, we could be on a beans and rice, if we're trying to get out of debt, which is what I was on. I was like a couponing, beans and rice kind of person. I was not dining. I power a no. Entertainment at that time was, Redbox. Brought it in the house. But we're going to, let little single Diva Ducket live her life. We're going to let her go out.
She went out for some drinks.
She went out for some drinks, a meal, or two, depending on where she went. And we're at a $250 budget, so that brings her under $2,000 now, right?
Yeah, she's like at about $1,800.
Right, and we haven't gotten into any car payments or anything like that. So, car payment, we kind of went back and forth because I wanted to.
She was trying to put Miss Ducket in something like $200-$300, and I was like, I don't know anybody whose car payment and insurance is like $300. I was like, where they do that at? I mean, even with good credit, what car? She got an old car if she did that. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we looked at this, maybe her car is about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And so
definitely not new.
It's not new. She was, smart. She bought used. And so her, car payment and insurance is about $450. That's probably about right, unless your car is new. Then you paying more if it's new.
Right.
So that $450, she's at what, about $1,350? Okay.
So credit card payment, again, we said the average credit card debt was about $5,315. So her credit card payment on her cars, we have about $150 because she's being fiscally responsible, putting some debt towards those credit cards.
Okay.
Next, we are going to give Miss Diva and Ducket some life insurance because we have said that what is the thing that they use when people die? They don't have no insurance. GoFundMe. GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy. So we're going to give her some term life. Because, whole life might be a little expensive for her right now. So we are going to give her some term life. And it's only $50 a month.
Okay.
That is reasonable. So for these people out here who do not have insurance, go look into some term life. It's very cheap. It's obviously cheaper than this dining out and entertainment that's up there. Please look into it. What does that bring her down to? About $1,200, $1,100?
She's right around like $1,150.
Okay. So gas, I know y'all see gas going up.
It's a little high.
Yeah,
I'm guessing she drives like a car or something with a smaller
for $450,
tank.
yeah.
With that, so we looked at that. So if she puts about $50 a weekend, she spends about $200 a month on her gas.
That's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. We put her at a cheap gym. We did not put her at the Y.
No.
And she does not have a personal trainer. So the gym, we here in Charlotte, it's called Fitness Connection. You can get it for $10 a month.
Planet Fitness. They all have a similar plan.
Right. And then also, we have spoken to it before, but if you do have, if you're corporate, you might have some kind of plans at your job that will allow you to write that gym off or get reimbursed for those gym memberships, so that can save you even more in your budgeting.
Yes.
Use your resources. So I would look into that. So we only allotted her $10 for the gym.
Yes. And so with that, when we take out gas and her membership, she's right around like $940.
Okay. And so she started at $4,000. She's at $940 at this point. And, her bills are paid and her insurance is taken care of. She got her gas done. We got dining out and entertainment. So she has that $940. Now, Diva and Duck, she's responsible. So she's not going to just blow through that $940. She's not going to be like, oh, bills are paid.
Right. I'm going to go in for a section with my girl because we going out because I got $940.
Blowing it on bottles. We're not doing that.
No.
We are going to be responsible and put some towards savings, right?
Yes.
We're going to build up this emergency fund and look at these things, right? So we're going to put her, she had $940 left over. We're going to give a third of that to savings, put $300 away a month into savings, right?
Yeah, and she's almost, I'm sure when she pays that credit card off, she'll be at I think generally similar to tithes, folks say you should save about 10% of what you take home. So looking at that, like she's almost there with that, $4,000 a month. Like, okay, well, she get that debt gone.
Right.
Then she can maybe bump that up to about $4.
Absolutely, because she could just roll that $150.
There you go.
On over to savings.
There you go.
Right.
Okay. So, Miss Diva Duckett, she, single female, but, she got a little friend at home, a little furry friend. So... So we budgeted for a little Yorkie poo cut, but honestly, I mean, depending on what you get, like my dog costs this much to groom.
Mine does too, and she don't never need to be cut.
Exactly.
So,
when you add on that nail grind or the teeth.
So I think this is for all dogs.
So basically, she takes her dog monthly to PetSmart. So she pays about $60 a month for grooming, and then. Well, she must have a little dog for this part.
Right. Look at that. I was like, that's the difference right there.
$50 for food. Her dog eat them little cans. So, okay. Maybe she has like a small to mid-size, one of them cute, like what do they call it?
Yorkie poo.
Like a Shih Tzu or something. Yeah, she has one of those.
Okay.
So she spent about $110 a month on her dog.
Okay.
So we were she saved her $300, so that put her down about $640. And then she spent $110 on this. So what is that? Is that $590?
I don't know.
No, $640.
100
is
$540.
Then $10, $530. Woo! Math.
Look at that. Budgeting without a calculator.
So, okay, so she has $530.
Okay.
That's what's left. Now, what we had not mentioned, and that's why we say you have to really zero out or figure out what else is coming up. Because again, in life, you'll kind of know like, oh, I have to get maintenance on my car. Or, oh, I have to, for those who tithe. We'll have to talk later about that because Quick has some thoughts. Your car taxes, because here you get a bill to drive your
not
car.
Every state does that.
Yeah,
right.
You pay to drive your car on the roads. Your car tax is a certain month. So you'll know what's coming. That $530 isn't just necessarily play money.
Blow money.
But what Miss Diva Duckett is left with is $530 in disposable income. So income for those things that come up. So that could be clothes, maybe she goes to Ross or goes somewhere to get her, some things for work or, little casual items, shoot, what have you. Maybe she tithes it. Her oil change, because that car is gonna need some maintenance. When you got a car that's a little older, you gotta keep the maintenance up. And even travel. Let's say she takes a little weekend to the beach. That's where that money is gonna come from, because you don't want to dip into your unless you have savings account for a specific purpose, like you have a travel savings. You don't want to dip in your savings for these kind of things.
Right.
So we've talked about it, I'm sure, before, but you want to eventually get to a point where you have several savings and they have different jobs.
Right.
So,
and I would say that is one area I would use if you're not going to have the savings accounts, right, to use the cash envelope system for. So this $530 I would put it into cash envelopes for savings purposes. Now, again, she lives home. There's nobody in her house that's, untrustworthy or whatever.
Yeah.
She can get a travel envelope. She can get envelope for car maintenance. These things, because they will come. Car taxes will come. She's probably traveling is optional, but she doesn't have to live a life where she doesn't travel because she's not where she wants to be.
Right.
In budgeting, that a lot of people, that fear of budgeting is, oh God, I'm not going to be able to do anything, right? And it doesn't.
And it's quite the opposite.
Yeah,
it actually enables you to do the things.
Without
and
the
it
stress.
helps you create a plan to do the things. And sometimes if you budget and you realize, like, I feel like it's tight or what have you, sometimes that leads you to say, you know what, let me pick up a little something part-time or use a skill set and like do that on the side to make up for it. Some people I know, have full-time, whether it's corporate job or whatever, they work full-time, but then they have a side hustle that is their savings.
Right.
Or their side hustle is that money that they make has a specific
goal,
kind of job.
Yeah.
So, some people do that again to pay off debt. It's like, I'm gonna go get a little something and I'm gonna use that for my debt so I can make it work with these other things. So I think it's really important. I know at times it can feel, a little down, especially if you know you have debt. But I do think when you go down this number, it helps to clarify things. And it helps. I know one of the ways that I kind of whittle down to it, and to your point about those subscriptions you forget about, I pulled my bank statement. And that's where you'll see, like, what is that? It comes out every month. And you're like, what is that? So you'll start to see, like, different places your money goes that, like you said, you may not even use. And it's like, I can get that $46 back and have that, go towards my savings or go towards whatever. So,
and then they often say that when you spoke about bank statements, there's like, if you want to see what a person values, pull the last 3 months of their bank statements and look through it, right? What you value is where you're going to spend the most of your money at. So, just in that, like you said, if you start seeing these subscriptions that you're not using, even the gym. I have a $10 subscription at Fitness Connection because it's $10.
Yeah.
But if I was in a place where I was budgeting and I was strict with that, I'm not going to the gym, right? I would cut that $10 off. It might be small, but over a year, it's $120. It starts to add up. And then we also started out this talking about holiday spending, right? If you start budgeting and you do have that extra money left over, you do not have to start shopping for Christmas in December or planning for Christmas. You might want to shop because they have all the sales, but you could start saving all year.
You could.
If you have I have $1,000 savings goal that I'm going to do in December. Let me start in January, putting away $100. You'll have it.
Yeah.
And then you're not stressed about it, right? And you've done the work all the year. Go splurge. Yeah. You saved up. You've done what you needed to do, and it's fine. Versus stressing of pulling that $1,000 from somewhere that it definitely does not need to be pulled from an apartment,
right?
From actual bills that need to be taken care of, but you're struggling and trying to find that money for holiday spending, because we know that the reality, there are plenty of people that we understand will not have $530 left over every month, right?
We know that everyone does not bring home $50,000. So again, that's why we were saying with that, like, definitely plug your numbers. And it's important, like you said, especially if things are tight, life is expensive, to where you find that extra money, make it work for you. And I just think it's really important to make sure that you're labeling things. So, for example, you can even name your account this, like, online. But if you're like, okay, so Miss, Diva Duckett got her $300 a month. A lot of people, depending on the person, make their emergency savings. They might make it 3 months of expenses. So when she goes down her stuff, might make it 6 months. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. But once let's say she wants to do 6 months. So what was all her stuff adding up to? $1,500. She need a little good little chunk of change. So she needs, just counting her living, because when you talk about living expenses, there's stuff that you have to do, right? So $1,500, basically $500 between utilities and groceries, and then her car payment and her credit card payment. She needs about $2,600 to $2,700 a month. Actually, $2,800 because gas. $2,800 a month to live on. So if she did 3 months of that, as you can see, she's almost at $9,000 that she needs for an emergency.
Right.
Once she gets to that account, it's not closed. It's just sitting there chilling. That's emergency. Don't touch it. So after that, that $300 a month can go to another savings, maybe for her travel, or maybe for more entertainment. If she really likes that, do it like you do for Beyonce. Y'all know those when she comes out, when the album comes out, she usually goes on tour. It's going down. You don't. It's just like they say about Jesus. No man knows the day or the hour that a Beyonce album is coming out. So if you save your money, the next thing, like, I'm gonna save for entertainment because I really like that. So when Beyonce comes out with that album and then she announces that tour and those bots then got your regular ticket and now they talk about $400, you like, you know what? I got about $5,000 in my entertainment savings. Let me slide that because I want to see Beyonce. Whatever it is, it puts you in better position, and that's why I just kind of harping on the getting down and whittling down your budget, because when you find that money and you free up money, you ease up your life a little bit. And you, like you say, you plan for things in your life a little bit more so that it doesn't hurt as much. For example, some people are like, I would never spend $500 on Beyonce. Okay, cool, fine. But for the person who will, having that money already to the side and saved and like, okay, it's, chilling, it's ready whenever, is a lot easier than, like you said, I swiped my Amex and now I'm going to have to pay that back.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And then I think you made a perfect point about it. Like, once you hit a goal in your money, make sure that you're taking that, and it can be used to blow. I definitely think you should reward yourself. Like, I am really bad about that, and I think a lot of people have that habit, especially people that are type A and goal setters. You hit a goal and you instantly want to make another one.
All right,
instantly, right? But take some time. You did your $9,000 emergency saving. Take $500 and go celebrate yourself. Like, it's okay. I promise you, it's okay. It's not going to make you irresponsible for that 1 month.
Right.
But then go back on track and take that money and, like you say, roll it on to something else. It is just, I don't know. It's something so freeing in being able to manage your money and not feeling like money is managing you.
Yes. To not feel like every time you get paid, you're broke, or like that you hardly have any money.
Yeah.
Or you're working for debt or whatever. Yeah.
And there is, like I said, there's a large sector of people that we understand that there just isn't money, right? Like, you just don't have the money. But I think to that sector, there's an equally large sector that have the money and are still struggling just because they do not know how to manage the money.
Yeah.
And they are going, trust me, I know you may not feel like it, but they are going through the same stresses, right? Because they feel broke. And it's because they don't know how to manage money. So for that specific sector, I will definitely say that it's freeing, right? And if you don't know how to do it, there's plenty of people and consultants. Hello. There are plenty of people and consultants out there.
Quick financial sense.
Okay. That will teach you how to budget your money. And then, then you just have to stick to a plan, and you will just be surprised, even in a year, how much your life can change from being able to budget. It's no different than running a business. If you're having to run a successful business, you have to make plans.
Yeah.
You have to write things down. You have to have goals and goal setting. So it's no different than doing that with a budget.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, y'all. Get your calculators out, spreadsheet, notebook, whatever you got to do. Get your budget and make sure you're doing it according to how often you get paid.
Yeah,
because I made the same mistake. I was doing it monthly, and honestly, I will say it just kind of throws you off because you have different due dates for different things, and it's just easier to line up. So if you're biweekly or what do they also call it? The
bi-monthly.
No, because bi-monthly is every 2 months. Is it like semi-monthly? It's something like that where basically it's every 15 days. It's like the 15th and the 30th instead
military
of
get paid like
every
that.
2 weeks. So regardless of how it works, if you get paid twice a month, right, or you get paid once a month, however that works out, like budget that accordingly. We did this based on her getting paid monthly.
Yeah. And I will say also something you said made me think about this as far as like due dates.
Yeah.
On credit cards, even on your utilities, call those companies up. If you know when your pay period cycle is, and you based upon your budget upon being able to spend most of your bills from the 1st through the 7th, these they just assign these due dates, right?
Yeah.
They have no issue whatsoever. They just want their money.
Right.
They have no issue reassigning those days to be able to make them adjust to what you have. So call them up and make sure that you do know these due dates, because these late fees are killing people, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the corporations, they make a killing.
And they're charging late fee plus interest. So think about it. If you're a lot of these companies, the interest rate is like 20-something%. So if you owe, for example, I will take the latest debt I had paid off. So if you owe like $3,500, the interest they charge every month was already like almost $30. So every payment you made, it was minus $30.
Right.
So then a late fee is $30 to $40. So like if your minimum payment is $120 and you're late and it's interest, right, almost half of your payment is not even, it doesn't even matter.
Go to the debt.
So yeah, just really be on top of that. And like we said, budget according to when you get paid. We had Diva Duck get paid monthly. So
right. And there's some, so for and I mentioned some people don't know like their credit card interest rate. If you're looking for that, just look on your bank statement. It's usually at the bottom, and it will say what your APR is for your interest rate cycle. And it's that also can be negotiated with when you have a history of making payments as you're starting to do this. Even if you were making late payments before and you're starting to budget and you get serious about budgeting, I would say within 6 months to a year, call them. The worst they can say is no.
True.
Call them and make sure that you're, seeing if you can negotiate that interest rate down. Sometimes they're, it is what it is, but a lot of the times they will let you negotiate it down. Even if it's a percentage point or two, that can really save you a lot of money depending on how high your interest rate is.
And the other thing I would say, negotiate, just because it helps your credit score sometimes because it looks like you have more utility, is when you have good payment history, you don't keep a lot of debt, like negotiate raising your limit.
I do it all the time.
Because it just makes you look like you have more credit available, and that increases your score, because if you have less debt and more availability, it stretches that.
Yeah, I am
ratio.
a huge proponent of that. I do it every 6 months.
So that too.
I hit that button. Increase my rate.
Gave you a few.
Now that when you do that, increasing again, the good. Don't increase your debt.
Don't swipe more.
Right. They just increasing the rate because like she said.
Now we'll be talking later in the year about how to use credit cards to your advantage, how to strategize and make credit cards work for you. But again, it takes a lot of discipline if you're going to do it.
It does.
So stay tuned for that. For now, we're budgeting and we're getting our lives.
Yes.
So we'll come to that. So, okay, we are going to get into a Diva letter, but first we have a word from our first sponsor. Diva the Duck has got sponsored, y'all.
Okay.
So, today's episode is brought to you by Wooden Bowers. They cover a plethora of areas, but we're here to talk to you today as, civil rights laws. They protect individuals from unlawful infringement on their right to work, unlawful search and seizures, even from discriminatory acts in their place of business. And so we all have the right to be treated equally, right? We're all human. So if you think you've been discriminated against, if somebody, got the wrong one today at your job or wherever, call. That you can reach them at 704-665-5838, 704-665-5838, or visit wvvlaw.com. That's W as in wooden, B as in boy, V as in Victor, law.com. for a complimentary assessment of your case.
And we will definitely have their information in our show notes.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So let's get into our first Dear Diva segment of the year.
2022.
So if you have a question, comment, concern, shenanigan, you can reach us at divaadvice@gmail.com. Again, that's DIVAADVICE
Diva Advice
at gmail.com. Okay. Today's letter goes. Dear Divas, I'm dating a new guy and things are going well. Sad B. It's early, so I don't want to be extra. Okay. But certain things don't make sense.
Make it make sense.
Like he says he's working to retire from trucking, but when I went to his apartment, he barely had any furniture and he had a single plate, bowl, and utensils. He talks about being very much a saver. And while I understand and appreciate this, it just doesn't make sense to me that he's so bare minimum with his items, especially if he's looking to retire. So my question to you all is it too soon for me to question things? How would you go about having this conversation if not? And do you think it Do you think it looks funny? Signed, Anonymous Diva.
Hey, Anonymous Diva. I think that will largely depend on the person's age. I don't know. That isn't necessarily a red flag to me. I feel like guys can be very bare minimum. I mean, they're
ain't got no furniture though.
What is no? Is that like no furniture? Like she's sleeping on a floor, or no furniture? Like he has a bed, a chair, and
you know what? Just answer both ways because she was vague. If you walk in and it's an air mattress.
Okay, so if I walk in and there's an air mattress, I mean, I'm instantly gonna say something because that's just gonna take me aback. So there's not gonna be any like, when is this appropriate? I'm
like, watch Netflix on the air mattress.
I will. I'm absolutely jumping on the air mattress, and we gonna watch Netflix, but it will be mentioned. Like, bruh, what's up? What's up with the air mattress? Like, you comfortable down here? Like, is this good for your back?
Okay.
I mean, I might make it into a joke, but it's gonna be mentioned.
Okay.
Because that's just taking air mattress in the living room. I just need to know. But he did say,
he downsized it.
No. I would have took it more for the fact that he said he's a trucker, and if he's not there often, I don't know if he's long distance or local. Okay. I could understand not having furniture for that reason, but the retirement thing.
Okay.
I mean, you can get cheap furniture at Maxway. Like,
okay.
So, yeah. But I don't, it's not necessarily a red flag to me. I don't feel like he's flighty. Like
okay. So you give it benefit of doubt. Okay, cool. Were you? I don't know if you were done or not.
No, I am done, but it just. So I had a personal experience with.
Lord.
Where they only had like plastic spoons and like like the plastic ones you get from like Wendy's or whatever. Like that was their silverware, and then they didn't really have like bowls and stuff. And I talked to this friend about it. She was like, yeah, my husband was the same way. She was like, I had to put the china. She was like, it's not a big deal. Like they're not necessary. I guess. Like I don't know. So after that, I just didn't make a big deal about it. But it's weird. Like it's just weird.
This is true.
I don't think it's a red flag, but it is weird.
Okay, got you. Now, I guess to me it depends because it is strange to me that he has one bowl, one plate. Like, I mean, even a little set. Like, so he went to like Family Dollar and bought this because a set from like
it come with the box.
I'm just saying, yeah, it comes with at least 4. So I'm like, how did you get to one of each? Like you definitely went to like a Family Dollar or something like that.
You can buy individual at Walmart. They be on the okay.
But it is kind of strange that you bought one of each. You might as well, like you said, I could respect that you just got paper stuff over. It is a little odd. It's giving serial killer. No, I'm sure he's safe.
I wasn't even thinking that.
I would say if he didn't have any furniture, so to your point, it was a little vague, so I'm not sure. If he didn't have any furniture, I do get like if he's all about, oh, I'm building and saving and I'm about to retire, because truckers make decent money.
Very. So
I would kind of question, like, even with you saving, I don't understand not furnishing your place. So I don't think it's too. So you know what? And I'm usually the person that's like, you don't really ask people what they make or whatever. I'm usually that person who I'm not getting into that until we're at a certain place, until we talk about putting some money together. But
okay, continue.
We'll get to that in a minute. I will say that to me, if you don't have again, because, and I'm assuming if you watch this show, you a little seasoned. So this ain't like he's a college dude or something like that. Like, I'm guessing you're at least around 30-ish. So not having any furniture is like, it's a little something. It's true. Like, I need you to have a couch. You don't even have to have the set. Like, you don't have to have the couch love seat. You have a couch and a bed. Like, that to me is bare minimum, at least.
That is bare minimum.
Yeah, you got a couch somewhere to sit. If you know, in the living room, you got your bed to sleep in. And maybe you got a stool or two at your countertop if you got a countertop. But yeah, I wouldn't feel in this situation, like I said, I'm usually a little more conservative about asking people about their money. But to me, if he felt comfortable inviting you to his place and maybe even trying to think, something gonna go down
on that mattress,
on that air mattress or whatever he got going on, like you can ask him, like, yeah, so what's up? Like, is your furniture in storage? Don't give him an out because he might be like, yes, it's in storage. But just ask.
Just like, ask. Please don't.
What's up with your furniture?
No suggestions.
So with the furniture. But if he just has minimal, like I said, like, he just has a few pieces or whatever, like, yeah, a lot of dudes just, it's not as important.
They never get out the dorm.
It's just not, So right. I think it depends largely on that. But to me, if he's inviting you in this space and he's talking to you about his ducats from I'm trying to retire and all of this kind of stuff, then just ask and like go from there. And if it makes sense and it lines up and especially if as y'all are going on dates, he's paying for some of the dates at least. He's not giving bum vibes. Then, let it, And
if you're like Diva, quick, since he opened the door about retirement, you can ask him how close he is to it. What are his goals? Then we can really see.
When you open the door for Quick, it's a wrap.
Kick it down.
So let us know how it goes. divaadvice@gmail.com.
Yes.
So Quick, do you have anything?
I do not have any tips. Don't buy him furniture.
No.
We try to fix everything.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. That's my tip.
Bring some paper plates.
Right.
Yes. All right, y'all. So we will be back in a couple weeks. We have so much in store for you all this year. We're super excited. And, you can find us on the things. We're on Facebook and Instagram, Divas and Ducats. If you're watching, subscribe below. You should have been done that, but fine.
Okay. And for those of y'all listening, y'all should go over to the episode today. Diva Lee is looking very diva-ish today. You look so gorgeous. I love the hair.
Thank you. Yes. Also our website, www.divasandducats.com. And so, yes, we will see you in a bit. And in the meantime, in between time,
have a great attitude.
Bye.